What's going on, growers? It's James Piccioni coming to you live from Jersey. Today, me and Tuck are going to share with you 10 crops you can still plant in September and get a harvest from. Let's go! I'm in Zone 7A, and my first expected frost date is about 45 days away. So the crops that I choose are going to be based off that time frame. The first crop that you can still plant in September is Tatsoi. Tatsoi is a super cold hardy Asian green that will grow relatively fast. This plant will even survive a light snow covering. In the past, I've grown Tatsoi and it snowed out, and then after the snow has melted, I've gone out there and the Tatsoi is still growing. It's got this nice, mild, sweet flavor once you get late into winter as well, and it grows in this beautiful rosette shape. So it's just a great plant to get into the ground, and it's got that common brassica flavor to it. Real good stuff. The second crop you could still plant in September is Yakina Savoy. This is another Asian green. It's similar to the Tatsoi, but it grows larger and it grows more upright. It's got a similar flavor though. And I've read that Yakina Savoy, translated from Japanese, basically means the snow vegetable. So this one will survive a nice early frost, and it grows relatively quickly as well. The third crop you can still plant in September is Arugula. Arugula has a great nutty flavor and grows super fast. It also is really cold hardy, especially if you get a variety like the ice bred arugula. This variety is specifically bred for growing late into the winter. This variety, if it gets super cold out, will turn like a little purpling in the veins, and it could possibly go dormant if it's like, really cold out. But even if it does go dormant, this arugula should wake up early in the spring, so you'll either be able to eat the arugula throughout the whole season, or you'll have a little gap where you can pick it back up in the spring. It's like such an important addition to a salad because that nutty flavor, it just goes so good with a lot of other things. The fourth crop you can still plant in September is lettuce. Lettuce grows relatively quickly and will survive a frost, especially if it's a cold hardy variety like the Winter Marvel Butterhead lettuce, one that I love to grow. One thing about lettuce is when a frost comes, you may get a little bit of like burned tips at the end of your leaves from that cold weather, from that frost. But if you want to grow lettuce through the whole entire year, you're going to have to cover it. Most lettuce varieties won't survive like super cold temperatures around here. So if you grow lettuce covered, you'll be able to grow it through the year and have just delicious fresh salads from that lettuce. If not, you will still be able to grow this really late into the season. The fifth crop you could still plant in September is Claytonia. This is one of my all-time favorite super cold hardy greens. For me, this thing grows all through the winter. It's rich in calcium and vitamin C, which is fantastic when you need it in the winter. And this is also known as winter purslane. It's another common name for it because I think it kind of tastes like purslane. It's got that like thick, velvety almost kind of leaves. It's got a nice, almost like lemony flavor to it. It's just a fantastic green all the way around. And I mean, I always grow this one. It's just one of my favorites, like I mentioned. And the thing about this is, like I mentioned, it will grow through the whole entire winter. And even if it doesn't, this thing reseeds like mad. So once the early spring comes, you'll have just Claytonias popping up and growing everywhere. So you could either be eating salads through the winter or get that nice, delicious spring fresh salad. The sixth crop you could still plant in September are radishes. Now, radishes are the only crop in my list that I'm not growing just for the greens, because at this time of the year, now that it's getting cooler out and the days are getting shorter, plants grow much slower. So if you want to grow plants for something besides the greens, it's a little tough. But when it comes to radishes, they grow so quickly. Some varieties like the Cherry Belle are ready in only 25 days. So at this time of the year, it may take a little bit longer than 25 days to get your radishes, but I'm confident you still have plenty of time to get some radishes in the ground and get some delicious harvests from them. Not to mention they're in the brassica family too, so they are cold hardy. The seventh cold hardy veggie you can still plant in September is mashi. Also known as corn salad, this one for me grows really well without a cover through the winter. One thing about this plant is that it grows relatively slowly. So, I mean, it's going to grow through the winter, but it's not going to produce an insane amount of food. Regardless, it still is a great addition to your salads late into the season, especially through the winter when you're really craving those greens. The eighth crop you could still grow in September is Mizuno. This one is in the mustard family and is relatively cold hardy. It's got this incredibly beautiful thin leaves that just look so awesome in my opinion. It's a great addition to the salad in the fall or winter. One thing about this plant is it will not grow throughout the whole entire season without a cover on it. So if you want to get really late Mizuno, like when the temperatures drop to super low, you're going to have to put a cover on top of it. The 9th crop I'm still planting in September are mustard greens. Now, mustard greens are relatively cold hardy, but they're so awesome because there's a lot of different kinds of mustard greens. For instance, I'm growing the Osaka purple mustard greens because they're like relatively compact, they got a nice color, and they also have like a really nice zesty flavor to them. I'm also growing the Lady Muraski mustard greens because they've got an incredibly beautiful purple color to them. So you should get some mustard greens in the ground because they're relatively cold hardy, and there's also a lot of different kinds to grow. The 10th crop you could still grow in September and get a harvest from are cilantro and parsley. Even though you can't plant these into the ground and still get a harvest before the frost comes, you still need to plant these in pots. What you want to do is plant them in pots, leave them outside, and let them grow. Then before a heavy frost comes, something that would kill them, bring those inside and just set them next to a spot in your house that gets good light, next to like a south-facing window. This way you could have fresh, delicious cilantro and parsley growing basically throughout the winter. These don't need a really lot of light in order to grow, so it's a fantastic one just to leave next to like a south-facing window. The crops that I've shared with you that you can still plant and grow in September are ones that you can grow without having a covering on them. There's still plenty of other veggies and different kinds of crops that you can grow at this time of the year, especially if you have a covering that you can use in the winter. So I use these hinged hoop house coverings. I've used them for years, and these things have allowed me to grow all different kinds of veggies throughout the whole entire season. So you don't need like a monster greenhouse setup or something to be eating fresh veggies. Even if it gets really cold in your location, just get one of these hinged hoop houses on. They're not that hard to make. They're really not that expensive either. And if you want to be super safe, you could even add 2 layers to the hoop house. So the idea is that each layer of the plastic brings you up basically 1.5 zones. So I'm in zone 7A. If I put 2 layers of plastic, that basically brings me up to zone like 10A. That brings me up to 3 zones. So if you want to really grow late into the season and you're serious about this kind of stuff, try to get one of these built. I have a video on how to do it, and they're actually fun to do in my opinion. It's not a lot of heavy lifting. It's mostly just some greenhouse plastic and then some PVC. So it's not a huge investment, but it will be, you know, a valuable investment because you should be able to get a lot out of it. Let's go over here and see if the boss man wants a little carrot. Grab a carrot in here. Not one that's too big. It's a little one like this. Nice looking carrot. The thing about carrots is if you grow these through the winter, as it starts to get colder out, the carrots get even sweeter. So you gotta have some of these in the ground. It's still a bit late if you wanna plant them right now, but hopefully you have some in that you could be eating late into the season. This boss wants to bite into this one. It's funny, he always bites this tip thing off before he starts eating it. So let me crack this off for him and see if he wants some. There we go, all cleaned up for him. Yeah, that's what we like. That's the good stuff, right, boyo? This guy loves his fresh carrots from the garden. He loves his root crops, his radishes, his carrots. Such a good guy. Right, Techie? He loves being out here. This is why this guy is the leader and the boss. We're just the apprentice. Right, boyo? That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. Me and Tuck love making these videos so much because our whole goal is to get as many people growing food in the backyard as possible. We will be growing, you know, greens and all different kind of stuff through the whole entire winter because we've got the hinged hoop house. But if you don't have a hinged hoop house, I've still provided you with a lot of veggies that you still have enough time to get into the ground without actually having to cover them. So just because the weather's starting to cool a little bit and it feels like gardening's like, you know, almost over, doesn't mean you have to let go of it. Me and Tuck, like, we can never let the season go, and we try to always grapple onto it as long as possible because there's nothing like eating fresh food right from the garden. It's just, it's incomparable. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends. Don't forget to check out the merch down low at jamesprigioni.com. Grab a Food Forest shirt, grab a Team Grow shirt, and join the team. I also want to thank one of our new channel members, Roxanne Moskal. Thanks for being a part of Team Grow. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for having your hand in everything we're growing here and everything that we will be growing throughout the winter. So me and Tuck, you know, we had a blast out here. Even though it's a bit of an overcast day, it's still a beautiful time to get some more plants in the ground so we can continue eating fresh food. James and Tuck will be back to you again real soon. We out.